Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the late, super late edition of Clown Planet. It's been a long day, so let's get right to it. First, it's happy Christopher Columbus Day, or if you're an NFL team or anybody else, really, they're doubling down on Indigenous Peoples Day. I saw these literally just they were the first two to pop up. Everyone else is doing it too. It's kind of funny that some of them are just upset about the whole situation and just wanted to let everyone know it's Indigenous Peoples Day. Some people made it funny about putting up Mel Gibson movie when they're tearing out the people's hearts. That's happy Indigenous Peoples Day. But anyway, let's get right to it. In local news, up at least 4 dead, 20 injured in a shooting that you probably never heard of this weekend. They have to have mass shooting. Anything over one is a mass shooting. Overnight at Willy's Bar and Grill in St. Helena Island, Beaufort County, South Kakalaki. One of the deceased members was a security guard. Authorities have not identified suspects or confirmed a manhunt investigation is ongoing. Remember, the lie was 2 weeks ago. There was a shooting in North Carolina, far southeast side too, at a bar and grill on the ocean. So I don't know what the deal is with the boat drive ups. Well, that's the second one. North Carolina was 2 weeks ago. South Carolina now this week. Leo the 14th consecrated the whole world to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and still we haven't done the actually real consecration yet. Again, Our Lady said if the Pope would consecrate Russia, which why can't we do that now? It's not like the Cold War is coming. There are literally threats of nuclear war going on. And Russia's pretty Christianized. They say they're not perfect. Trust me, they're not nowhere near perfect, but at least it's better than what it was, I guess, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Can you just throw a bone? What if that works? This has not worked in the last, when they started doing the world thing, past 12th, did 11th do any? I don't know. There's that one book about 7 posts. We added about 2, I think, since the book. So we're 0 for 9 or 0 for 10. One of the three. I lost count. And nothing's really changed. Why can't we just give it a shot? I don't know. We have to wait for nukes to literally fly to get, hey, you know what? Let's get the bishops involved. Say Russia, do the bishops, whatever. I don't know. Trust me, I got news on that coming up soon. Let's get into a couple things. Remember last week? Remember the whole thing about Qatar having an air base in Idaho? Candlesticks, what's up, man? Yeah, the Trump thing about saying that he might not get into heaven. Don't you worry. I mean, we should pray for his soul to be able to do that. I'm not talking about that. Let me get through it. All right, so you remember the whole thing with Trump getting Qatar and the work in the air to use the air base in Idaho, right? Well, here's 2017. Qatar has been a funder of terrorism at the very level, at a very high level. That was Trump 2017. Today, a couple of days ago. This was actually May 12th. I'm sorry, this is May 12th this year. He accepts a $400 million jet from Qatar, praises its leadership, and is set to visit in one of the first countries in the second term while his family builds a luxury golf resort there. And it says, turns out that terrorism is not a problem if the price is right. Seriously. And where have you hear any of the cheerleaders? The crickets are louder. Don't worry, it gets worse. Here's Mother Jones talking about the Trump administration organization itself. Recently struck a deal to develop a luxury golf resort in Qatar. And now Qatar is considering handing as a gift to Trump a jumbo airliner worth $4 million. Okay, we already saw that one. We don't call this black pill money for nothing. Breaking, Trump boards the $400 million luxury jet that Qatar government gifted him for the first time. I think that was AI, though, but, it's just his jet. No coincidence, though, no coincidence that he ends up doing something with Qatar and Idaho. In local news, another W for little towns. Developers have withdrawn plans for a controversial 123-acre data center in Matthews after fierce community opposition and nearly 2,800 petition signatures. But they may refile a new proposal soon. So it ain't over yet. But a good win to start out. President, once and future King, President DJ Trump announces AstraZeneca. You know, those great, lovely angels at AstraZeneca, just like those ones with Pfizer, is set to invest $50 billion in these United States for the R&D of new drugs and to onshore manufacturing facilities across the country. Did RFK, where's RFK spine? Did someone put it in the pentagram and the third ring or something? Really? By the way, DJT received the Rona booster injection. There are actually people saying, "Oh, no, 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 his father, no, no, he didn't really take it." He said he did. I don't know what's going on here. And he goes, "Did you know this just happened at the pyramids in Egypt?" This was yesterday, last night, yesterday evening. There's a rock going on in the back, I think, some kind of music. I don't know what's, but and I have no idea what that symbol is. Guys down here are saying it's some kind of ritual thing, but I don't know. Weird with the pillars too. During his speech in Knesset, Trump urges Israeli President Isaac Herzog to pardon war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu. Quote, hey, I have an idea, Mr. President. Why don't you give him a pardon? Give him a pardon. Come on. Whether we like it or not, Netanyahu's been one of the greatest wartime presidents. One of the greatest wartime presidents. And cigars and champagne, who the hell cares about that? You are a very popular man, Trump added, addressing Netanyahu directly. You know why? Because you know how to win. I have video of the entire nation of Israel booing him, by the way. We'll get to that. President Trump applauds his negotiating team during speech in Israel, including a special shout out to his daughter. Let me also give a very special thanks to someone who truly loves Israel. In fact, loves it so much that my daughter converted. I don't know what to laugh. You have to laugh, not to cry. Trump praises Israel first billionaire Miriam Adelson, who we talked about ad nauseum. None of the cheerleaders will talk about her, but I'll bring it up. During his speech in Knesset, quote, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say. Ellison contributed over $100 million towards Trump's most recent re-election effort through her pro-Trump super PAC. She and her late husband, Sheldon, were top backers in 2016 and 2020 as well. In 2018, Trump awarded her with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Miriam and Sheldon would come into the office. They called me. I think they had more trips to the White House than anyone else I can think of. By the way, what does she really want? She wants Gaza taken out and annexed. But that's never going to happen. That's conspiracy theory. Trump lauded his major campaign donor, billionaire Israel lobbyist Miriam Adelson in the Knesset. Look at her sitting there so innocently. She got $60 billion in the bank. He boasted of having moved the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. Isn't that right, Miriam? She was behind that. The more trips to the White House than anybody. Says the late Sheldon was a very aggressive man, but I loved him. He'd call up, can I come over and see you? I'd say, Sheldon, and I'm the president of the United States. It doesn't work that way. He'd come in, but they were very responsible for so much. She looked uncomfortable. Trump confirms he was an active partner in the genocide. Bibi Netanyahu would call me so many times asking for weapons I never even heard of. But we got them here, didn't we? We used them very well. Absolutely, as they say, absolutely shameless that this is a world leader. Israeli defense minister explicitly says the slaughter is going to resume after they get their hostages back. Israel's great challenge after the phase of returning the hostages will be the destruction of all the Hamas terror tunnels in Gaza directly by the IDF and through the international mechanism to be established under the leadership and supervision of these United States. This is the primary significance of implementing the agreed upon principle of demilitarizing Gaza and neutralizing Hamas of its weapons. I've instructed the IDF to prepare to carry out the mission. They're going to kill them all, like I said. Gen X girl, you know the poor Palestinians are screwed when the Queen of War praises Trump. Hillary Clinton is praising DJT for his peace plan between Israel and the Palestinians, calling it a significant first step. Says the hard work of rebuilding Gaza will now be the main focus of the security of both Israel and Palestine. Here's Ryan Christian goes, ceasefire, Zionist observer. Israel announces they will continue to murder anyone fishing, swimming, or diving despite the ceasefire. Posted 6 hours ago by the IDF's Arabic spokesman. In the maritime area of the Gaza Strip, where there is significant danger of engaging in fishing, swimming, or diving, just like the Caribbean, they'll just blow up the boat. And we warn against anyone entering the sea in the coming days. There's Gen X girl again with Israel's coordinated campaign to propagandize conservatives in America. This is just a thread of all this stuff. We talked about this before with the Israel's Eighth Front War. Excuse me. Like, there's just again, all this is in the show notes. Israeli documents to show expensive government effort to shape U.S. discourse around Gaza war. Boost online support of Israel, target advocacy for Palestinians, crush student protests, and codify the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism into U.S. law at every level of government. Yeah, it was on September 18th. The Conference of Christian Presidents for Israel, the CCPI. Here's through the Heritage Foundation, the Israel lobby created a roadmap called Project Esther. So the government outsourced, Esther, Book of Esther, can outsource surveillance to Israel Canary mission. Now the spying operation is going AI via Palantir. This from the Heritage Foundation, yeah. So they actually have a little commercial of it right here. December 2024, Israel to spend 150 million to interfere with by influence, boost Israel's support, influence lawmakers, crush Israeli criticism, crush Palestinian advocacy, target schools, criminalize speech, all that. You see it right there. Season American apparatus. January 2025, ADL induces the Eighth Front War. July 2025, Netanyahu introduces the Eighth Front War to Christian Zionists in Israel. September 2025, Netanyahu introduces the Eighth Front War to Israel's social media influencers. January 29th, 2025, here's the executive order at 144188, building on the 2019 order that adopted the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. This is the one that criminalizes anti-Semitism, combat it, the form of hate speech. Then Pam Boundy doing it. Yeah. But you've seen all that. Most of you've seen all this. It gets worse. Don't worry. This is the combat, the lies that they were apparently being told. Here's faith by works we talked about last week. No one else is talking about. Targeted influencers like Theo Von, Tucker, Candace, MTG, and Bannon. It's the show Faith by Works LLC, a mysterious market entity linked to Chad something, who's connected to Ralph Reed. Yair Netanyahu, Benjamin's son. Here's August 4th, billionaire Bill Ackman hosts a meeting in the Hamptons to discuss support for Israel with influencers including Kirk, Seth Dillon, C.J. Pearson, Xavier Del Rose, whatever. He's the guy getting the thing down in Florida. Emily Saves America, Lou Holly, Kristen Wan, and UK attorney Natasha Hausdorff, as well as others. Anyway, this goes on for a while. You want to read on it, get a little bit more in depth on what goes on with the state front war. CIO owns Facebook, and Zuckerberg just, yeah, I mean, Facebook was created for the military. Really. It is for to be able to spy on others. It's all a CIA thing. The internet, Facebook especially, things like that. But yeah, if you want to check out, read more into it again, save that. This is a great thread. She should make a Substack out of this on everything that's going on with this eighth thing, the eighth front. Meeting attendees included members CCPI, Benjamin Netanyahu, Mark Levin on Fox, Leo Terrell, Martin Marks, all those guys. Visionary Leadership Assembly. This is October 1st of this year. The Israeli Knesset approved the additional $40 million for the foreign ministries. Hasbara budget $24 million for global influence campaigns and $16 million to finance more international delegations. I mean, you have to take some time to read all that. Here's antiwar.com for yesterday. Hamas agreed to the same Gaza deal more than a year ago, but Netanyahu and Biden rejected it. The camp says of anti-war, remember Genocide Joe? Speaking of anti-war, let's check out, get some War Pigs updates. Hamas and Israel swap prisoners as part of Gaza deal. The problem is that when they swap the prisoners, watch them, they'll just kill them all afterwards. 200 bodies dug out of Gaza rubble since start of ceasefire. Israeli Defense Ministry, IDF will destroy Gaza tunnels. Palestinian activist Salah al-Jafari killed by militia in Gaza City. Response to Free Press reporting on Gaza starving children. Trump signs Gaza ceasefire doc in Egypt summit. Hamas agreed, same deal as a year ago. U.S. secretly worked to expand Israeli-Arab ties during Gaza genocide. UN soldier wounded by Israeli drone in Lebanon. U.S. has supported long-range attacks in Russia. Maduro offered U.S. Venezuela's oil to avoid war. Maduro offered U.S. Venezuela's oil to avoid war. Dozens of casualties in Pakistan clashes. And we already knew about the tariffs. Here's Netanyahu being booed by 100,000, more than 100,000 Israelis after Steve Witkoff brings up his name. Kirshner and Ivanka exchange awkward smiles as he tries to regain control. Let me finish my thoughts. As you got this guy muzzled up right behind her. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is one of the key American architects of Trump's post-Gaza policy. In August 2025, he briefed Trump on the plan he had been working on for several months with Tony Blair and Steve Witkoff to shape what the Trump team calls its day-after blueprint for Gaza. It's worth revisiting how Kushner himself has spoken about the Strip. Remember, he talked about being, as he said, maybe, but I'm not sure that there's much left of Gaza at this point, before describing the enclave as waterfront property, which would be very valuable. He gets up a couple days ago and does his little speech. What do you say in here? Then there's Kushner, a man that's now leading the work on shaping Trump's post-cease Gaza policy. Kushner tells in Tel Aviv, instead of replicating the barbarism of the enemy, oh yeah, he's just blowing smoke. Yeah, so again, he's in charge of reconstruction. Trump partners with Stargate. Larry Ellison wanted to introduce digital ID off the back of 9/11 as far back as 2001. I think we brought this up 2 weeks ago. and offered to give it to the Fed for free. This is a guy now in charge of the huge database structures backed by $500 billion and Trump from Stargate from day one. Day one. Remember the Stargate thing? Day one. No one wants to talk about it. Ellison of Oracle seeks U.S. ID cards. Papua New Guinea's parliament amends constitution to declare Christian identity. And it's right here. God the Father, Jesus Christ, the Son, and Holy Spirit as our creator and sustainer of the entire universe and source of our powers and authorities. In a little comedic break from all this, from The Onion, Israel agrees to go back to killing Palestinians on a less frequent basis. And the U.S. military carries out strike on Scuffy the tugboat. Pentagram claims little red vessel working with narco terrorists. Yeah, you never can tell those little red tugboats sometimes. Let's see, Jason Bassler starting today, as in yesterday. The EU's new entry exit system goes live. Anyone without a biometric passport, including Americans, must now provide fingerprints and a facial recognition scan to cross the border. Your body is now your passport. Welcome to the biometric age. Don't worry. DJT has talked about doing the exact same thing. In case you're new to the program, let me play that for you right now. If I can find it, I'm stalling badly to get that thing out. Let me see. Where is that? Where is he? There it is. Biometric prison. I got it.
Finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. We will ensure that this system is in place. And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
So yes, don't worry. What they got going on in EU will be here in the not so distant future with a MAGA sticker to go with it. Gold hits $4,000 for the first time ever, and silver is closing in on $50 as the U.S. dollar collapses, which will bring in digital currency. David Icke is talking about the Milei, who apparently was on a concert this past, when was the 7th? Thursday, Friday? Had a rock show to celebrate his new book called La Construcción del Milagro, The Construction of the Miracle. So he did a karaoke concert. EK writes, Trump just bailed out this guy, a mate of Musk, with $20 billion as he destroys the Argentina economy. Make that for destroying the Argentina economy. Global economic stability is being dismantled to force everyone into poverty, dependency, and control. They don't want competent politicians to service to the population. They want morons who will follow the script. The war is over. The world over. They got them. Right, Donald? Right, Keir? Right? Venezuela is collapsing, but don't look now. But so is Cuba. And don't look now. So is Cuba. What's poisoning dolphins' brains near Miami could be an Alzheimer's warning for humans. Apparently, dolphins are having some kind of weird thing happen to them. Every dolphin studied in Florida's Indian River Lagoon has a brain toxin called 2,4-DAB. Toxin levels were roughly 3,000 times higher during summer algae and bloom months. The dolphins' brains showed the same Alzheimer's-related proteins and gene activity seen in humans. And of course, they're going to say something about global warming waters, right? Americans will now be charged extra to recline their seats on flights in major cabin shakeup. The policy is slammed by aviation experts. Only premium cabin seats will offer reclining backs, replicating something that I didn't see. Let's see. 3 cabins. This WestJet. I don't even know. I haven't flown in a long time, so I have no idea what WestJet is. The plane revamps were announced on WestJet Chiefs on September 23rd. There will be a premium cabin with 12 seats. which will have reclining seat backs. You know, the reclining seats that go from here to here. So you know, the charge to get your seat to move from here to here, you have to spend another $100 just to go back a half an inch. Zelensky Trump confirms plans to meet in Washington this week. Yay, got to get that other war going. We're up with one war, we got to focus on the other. Don't worry, they'll finish the other war later. Kremlin warns the West over dramatic escalation moment in Ukraine war. Again, can we get the consecration of Russia done properly? Just give it a shot. Russia in phase 0 of World War III as Putin's tentacles spread over Europe with drones and little green men, experts warn. Analysts say the writing's on the wall and Russia may strike sooner than expected. Again, just say Russia. You don't have to do the world. We tried the world. Try the Russia one part and just give it a shot. As Russian aggression turns west, Poland says it's ready. Again, just say Russia. Hamas frees living hostages and Israel releases prisoners as Trump visits the region. Well, it's the AP, so you're not going to get a lot of it in there. Here's the Gaza method. What has come for Palestinians will soon come for us all. Describing how the violence, AI targeting systems, drone warfare, biometric refugee camps, land grabs, and digital IDs are being deployed in Gaza will imminently enslave the Western world. This is going to be a long one. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Catherine Austin Fitz talks about this. And there he goes. That was the first one when she gets into this. First of this goes down. It's going to be happening around the world because this is not a one-off situation. This is a prototype. This is why the Palantir technology being used is relevant. So I think the most important thing to consider is will the world let this happen? And he goes, my plan calls for the creation of a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace. And one of the people that wants to be on the board is Tony Blair. That's Trump a couple of days ago. Blair would lead the body called the Gaza International Transitional Authority, GITA, which that would have a mandate to be Gaza's supreme political and legal authority for as long as 5 years. Again, it sounds like Reconstruction in the South. This issue with technology and digital infrastructure, I just want to emphasize how important that is. You have to get the proper digital infrastructure, and most countries don't have that yet. Tony Blair, Davos, 2023. Larry Ellison has contributed something like $300 million to the Tony Blair Institute, and they're going to use all that to collect the data of people in Gaza who will be put in a biometric concentration camp. Blumenthal last month. Documents show Gaza humanitarian fund officials anticipated accusations that they were running concentration camps with biometrics or comparisons to U.S. private military contractors like Blackwater. Tony Blair's trademark evangelism is now focused on AI, its power to transform government, and why everyone should listen to Larry Ellison, the founder of technology firm Oracle, says Lighthouse Report, September 2025. Here's was that Blair again? Yeah, Larry Ellison responding to Blair. We can make sure that we're using the latest security technology, which is going to be biometrics assisted by AI, to make sure you are in fact Tony Blair. Oracle or Palantir announced today a partnership to provide secure cloud and AI solutions, aiming to power businesses and governments around the world. That was April 2024. Palantir Tech, the data analysis firm that provides militaries with AI models, has agreed to a strategic partnership with the IDM to supply technology to help the country's war effort. Bloomberg, January 2025. We showed that one before. If you care about lives in Gaza, you're going to want to use Palantir software because it's the only way you can say this person did this and they deserve to go. Palantir CEO Alex Karp. Last month. Gotham is the AI kill chain program created by Palantir, used within HHS project during COVID to identify different individual patients based on the same algorithm and determine that who's we're going to execute. Whistleblower Zoe Smith, June 2025. I remember seeing that interview. I think Palantir is in partnership with the Netanyahu syndicate. By the way, Netanyahu went to high school in Philadelphia. I think, Pennsylvania. I think it was Philly. From West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playgrounds where I spent most of my days. ICE just ordered $30 million worth of new tech from Palantir to track immigrants. Fannie Mae launches AI fraud detection tech partnership with Palantir. Democrats press Palantir to report creation of IRS mega database. Trump has been openly building databases on people with Palantir, but it's not really about better policing. It's the panopticon. If people feel like they're being consistently under watch, they will police themselves and censor themselves. Total information awareness of transitional threats requires keeping track of individuals and understanding how they fit into models. Connect the dots between the president using the U.S. military in the country and the Gaza model. One of the reasons you need that military action is because of the disabilities and deaths from government policies. We're deploying a full might of the federal law enforcement to crack down on Antifa and other domestic terrorist organizations, just like we did with cartels. We're going to take the same approach. The domestic terror infrastructure has been developed by every administration since 9/11. Governments tend to use vague definitions of domestic terrorists to their advantage for more control and the removal of our liberties. If you're a domestic terrorist, then with no warrant, no due process, I can arrest you, put you in prison, and confiscate your property. We're talking about the plunder game. I heard this interview. That was great. I was looking for that clip, actually. The mass murder in Gaza outlines a pattern, a set of tools and measures for extermination, subjugation, and expulsion that are ready to export and will be in high demand, like so much else Israel's spying, policing, and murder skills and tech. Whatever violence we do overseas, whatever forms of repression get implemented back in the States, the same technology like AI, targeting programs, spyware, mass drones, warfare is already at a police department near you. Former U.S. Army Ranger Greg Stoker. How's everybody doing? IDF vowed to destroy all Hamas terror tunnels. Let's see. Trump fumes as protester spoils his big moment. I didn't see I couldn't find a clip on that, but apparently someone has a genocide sign, I think it was. U.S. warplane spotted circling drug smuggling hotspot in mysterious pattern. The U.S. Navy's P-8A Poseidon used for anti-submarine waters for warfare, surveillance, and reconnaissance with spies circling over a drug smuggling hotspot up in Baja California. Hegseth touts push to replace heavyset National Guard troops in Illinois. So you're going to get rid of anybody he thinks is a fatty. American travelers will be fingerprinted after flights as new border law hitting 29 countries comes into force. The new program means the traditional passport feature is being phased out. Americans heading to the raft of European destinations will have to comply with the new border measures that are coming into force. And it means travelers will be forced to have their fingerprints taken. This is because the EU's new entry-exit system has now come to effect October 12th. It affects travelers who are heading to 29 European countries for visits up to 90 days within a 180-day period. The new system monitors when non-EU citizens enter and leave the Schengen area. Travelers will scan their passports and have a photograph taken. Most will have their fingerprints taken, but this rule does not apply to children under 12. Data stored on a digital database. Travelers may have to answer basic questions about their journey. Don't worry, I've never traveled into Europe ever in my life. How a small Chicago suburb became a flashpoint in ISIS crackdown. Growing number of U.S. veterans face arrest over ICE raid protests. Veterans are facing federal charges after protesting ICE sweeps and Trump's National Guard deployments. The Justice Department claims the veterans were violent. They really can say about anything about anybody, right? Here's Solari report. Catherine Austin Fitz saying, "I did not vote for this. I voted for hardened criminals here illegally to be rounded up, not American citizens. You are being played." This is Eric Dowdery saying, "Great news. Federal agencies disseminated Antifa in Portland." How does he know there's Antifa in Portland? He is just told to repeat the same thing. Anybody that protests any of this will be labeled as Antifa. Is that a bunny out there? I think the bunny costume's Antifa. So again, if you're a citizen, you're going to get pulled the ring, round up, thrown in the paddy wagon. You know, again, no one's upset about going after illegal. The sales pitch was going after MS-13, right? Now they're going after people at Lowe's. Okay, Zach Bryan, now you're a conservative target. Here's what you can learn from history. Zach Bryan found himself in the crosshairs of the culture wars this week from his latest statement about the reaction to his song Bad News. It sounds like he'd really like to de-escalate the situation. Unfortunately for him, that's not to happen very quickly. It all began when a country music star previewed his new song late last week, which seems to critique a recent raid of activity by U.S. ICE. Lyrics include references to ICE coming to bust down your door, try to build a house, no one builds no more. So everyone's all the fake rights going after Zach Bryan right now for it. Naked bike riders demonstrate against federal troops in quintessentially Portland protest. Okie dokie. Fake cell phone tower may have surveilled protesters at Portland ICE facility. So a fake cell tower may have surveilled protesters at the event. Let's see. Once on-site analysts and cellular signals by Straight Arrow News found evidence suggesting that a cell site simulator, commonly referred to as a Stingray, which we heard of before, or IMSI catcher, was likely used to collect identifying information from cell phones near the protest site. Spikes in tracking. Cell site simulators are devices that mimic cell phone towers in order to capture your phone's IMSI or International Mobile Subscriber Identity. To prevent phones from being tracked, mobile networks assign. However, simulators establish a connection with phones within its radius by broadcasting a stronger signal than nearby towers. Marines' parents nabbed by ICE as they visited pregnant daughter on military base. I mean, you can't make some of this stuff up. Fat troops fallout continues as some Texas guardsmen sent home over fitness concerns. You know, somebody brought up a good part. I mean, what if these guys have special, skills in some other thing? Like, I mean, you're doing drones and all that, so, maybe joystick stuff. Newsmax joins major media outlets in refusing to sign on to Pete Hegseth's press restrictions. Does China have the upper hand in Trump's new trade war? Remember, this goes back to the Great Reset. Who is going to win, these United States or China? The big crash. Are we really heading for another 1929 as central banks around sound the alarm over the AI bubble? Parallels with previous market manias cannot be ignored. Again, figure out a way to start growing your own food in your backyard. You don't have to worry about it if you got food. Stock up on some other stuff, but learn how to make grow tomatoes, potatoes, beans, stable crops like beans. Kidney beans, black beans, whatever. And, there's some. I mean, those things you don't even have to refrigerate those things. You just grow them. Keep the beans, and bada bing, you're done. Learn how to grow all those. Top Democrat praises Marjorie the Gathering, or MTG, for surprisingly enlightened a few weeks. She's been outspoken about Trump, obviously, from Epstein and other things. Taylor Swift to have a big announcement on Good Morning America. I guess tomorrow, is that this morning? Is that tomorrow this morning? I don't know what the event was, but it made the Kansas City Chiefs have a brawl. And I'm just kidding about that. There's Kelsey right there. Apparently, it was a violent brawl. The star player bloodied at ended Chiefs-Lions game. Investigation happened. I don't know who got hurt. Oh well, I didn't watch it anyways. This week, this day in history, 1792, cornerstone laid for the White House. 2012, which was burned down later by the Confederates. 2010, amid great fanfare, Chilean workers are rescued 69 days after their mine collapsed. You remember that back in that 5 years ago. 1988, the Archbishop Turin announced the carbon-14 dating indicated that the shroud dates only to the Middle Ages, though the origins of the shroud remain controversial. Obviously, that was all cleared up later. 1981, 1 week after the assassination of Anwar Sadat, voters in Egypt approved the new country's president. 1972, a flight chartered by Ugandan rugby team crashed in the Andes, and the wreckage was not located for more than 2 months. And this is the one with the cannibalism. 1950, All About Eve started. No, it won the 6th Academy Awards. Yeah. It was a debut, premiered in both Paris and New York City. New York City? Yes, New York City. 1946, after being approved by French voters for a referendum, the Constitution of the Fourth Republic is adopted in France. 1943, Italy declared war on Nazi Germany. 1903, the Boston Americans, later the Boston Red Sox, defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates to win the first modern World Series. 1843, the oldest and largest Jewish service organization in the world, was founded in New York City. New York City, yeah, New York City. And this day in 1917, the miracle of the sun happened as well. So, thank you. Sorry I rushed through that. There's a lot of info in that. Check it out. Again, the show links are underneath right now. You got the link. All the show notes are there. Check out the links, especially for the eighth front war for Israel and other things. But again, sorry if I ran through that. It's 42 minutes. It's good enough for right now. Didn't want to go too deep in that because it could we get into weeds really quick. Have a great rest of the night. See you tomorrow. Check out senseofidelium.tv with the app. Click, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Good night, everyone, and have